there, Small Town America. You know, we're talking about our Heritage Series, and I am with Ann, who is in charge of the American Mustang virtual trailer, and they get to tour all over the United States explaining our heritage and the wild horses. Ann, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the trailer?
Absolutely. We have a 45-foot virtual reality trailer here, which you actually get to step into the day of a wild horse. Now, it doesn't get any better than that. And we take you on a tour. We show you the land that they come from. We show you horses on range, which means in the wild. We also show you horses that are off range, that have already been gathered, waiting to be adopted. And that's where you come into play, because we're going to educate you today about America's Mustang and just how you can get one and be a part of our American history. So it doesn't get better than that.
I know, and you know, Ann, one of the things that we talk about in our Heritage Series is passing that torch down to the next generation. And there's something I think we've forgotten about. Our heritage of the wild Mustang,
Yes.
and how essential it is in the making of America. And so that's the importance. I know, like, we have Dale today, who has the face of the American horse here for the past 10 years. We have the current reigning
Yes.
face with Remington, and we're going to
Yes.
be featuring them today. But how important is it passing that heritage and that knowledge down to the next generation, so that they understand where the American Mustang comes from?
Well, it's very important. And what's exciting about that is these kids and these youth soak up these wild Mustangs. I mean, if you go to any of our websites or our Facebook pages or Instagram and type in that Mustang Heritage Foundation Youth Program, even YouTube, you will see amazing things that our youth, who are rock stars, do. You can take a wild horse at the age of 8 all the way to 17 and enter in our youth programs. And I'm telling you, I'm blessed to get to see people's lives changed because of a wild horse. I mean, does it get better than that? And it just didn't start with us. That started way back when the Spaniards brought them over. We get to continue that and to educate Americans, and that's what we're going to do for you today. We're going to walk you through the trailer and let you live a day in the life of a wild Mustang, and hopefully you'll want to learn more and maybe go to one of those adoption centers and adopt a wild horse.
Awesome. Small Town America, let's go take a look at the trailer.
Good morning. Welcome to the America's Mustang experience. You get to walk a day in the life of a wild Mustang. First, I want to show you all the wrap on the trailer. This is actually wrap from Nevada out at Antelope Valley, which Antelope Valley is one of our most needy areas. That HMA, which stands for Herd Management Area, is 512% overpopulated with Mustangs. So I like to tell people that come in the trailer, if you have a fenced-in backyard in town, you take 5 horses and you put in your yard and you just leave them. You don't feed them, you don't water them, you just leave them in that fenced yard. That's a little bit what it's like for wild horses out there. Because as you can see, there's not much vegetation. This is all sagebrush, which is actually really not edible, nutritionally wise anyway. So we're going to educate you a little bit. Our first video we have today is about the lands they come from. And this is actually the meat and potatoes of what Mustang Heritage is here for. We're here to educate you that if wild horses lived in Kentucky or Tennessee, probably the only problem we'd have is they'd all be overweight. But they don't. They live on desert land in the West where they're protected. So this video tells you a little bit about the lands they come from, the vegetation and the water and lack of, and actually is really all about what we do. Because most people have no idea of the need it is for wild horses. So as you walk on through the trailer, we have all kinds of information that you can read and find out a little bit more about the horses. And then our next video is about horses on range. And these are horses in Utah, out at Onakee, and this is horses that are out on the range already, that have not been gathered. And there's about probably around 83,000 right now out there, because last year we had some pretty good gathers. And the Bureau of Land Management, Wild Horse and Burro Division, manage these horses and try to do appropriate management to where they don't get too bad overpopulated and they sustain themselves in the wild. So they kind of watch and take care of the horses. And as you can see, the vegetation is poor and there's not much. That's why they do gathers, so they can gather them up to help for their safety. When you come on through the trailer, we have some more information. This shows you the 10 states that the horses are protected. They're protected of the Act of 1971, the Wild Horse Annie put in effect with the government, and they're on government land, all protected on these lands. And if you know anything about these 10 states, you know that their vegetation and water is lacking in many of them. So that's why they need to be gathered, because wild horses have the possibility of doubling in size every 4 to 5 years. So this tells you a little bit about the horses, and they're on 26.9 million acres in the west, and we have 177 HMAs, herd management areas, where they are protected. So when they are brought in from the government, the helicopter rounds them up, and we have very knowledgeable educational men that help, that know how to do this safely, and the BLM puts fencing out that protects them as they come in, and this is the fencing. So in some of the videos here, you'll see this fencing out as they're gathered, but if a horse runs into this, they don't get really hurt or anything, and so this is what's safe for them. And then this is our last video we have inside. This helps educate you about horses that are off rein and in the wild. And as you can see, here's a helicopter bringing them in. Here's the fencing that the BLM has put up. And this helps shows you horses that are gathered and in corrals waiting to be adopted by you and me. So we have some more pictures here that tells you a little bit about horses. And if you want to know a little bit about how to adopt a horse, you can contact Mustang Heritage Foundation. You can contact me. I'm Ann Souders. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I would be glad to help you. You can go to MustangHeritageFoundation.org and find out all the information, how to get a hold of us, and we would love you to come to one of our events. We have an event at the end of June in Tennessee, at Franklin, Tennessee, one of our Extreme Mustang Makeovers. And we have tip events all across the nation all summer, and those are all listed on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and on the internet on our website. So we're so glad you got to take a tour with us today. And when it comes to Mustangs, I will tell you, I tell people all the time, you might have to wear an allergy mask because they're very contagious. So once you learn about them, you want to learn more and more. And we're so glad you got to be here with us today and learn a little bit about America's wild horses.